a lot of the Bengals fan base hates me. I don't think it's entirely fair. I predicted the Bengals to go 3-13 in 2019. And the record was actually far worse. And not far worse, but a little bit worse than I predicted. They went 2-14, not 3-13. But the team was about exactly as bad as I predicted them to be. Here's a little bit of what I said going into the 2019 season related to the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals make me so sad. I'm predicting that the Bengals are going to go 3-13 this year. Look, I am rooting for the Bengals. I like their new head coach, Zach Taylor. I like how he spells his name. He spells it Z-A-C the same way I do. And he's supposed to be really great with quarterbacks. I'm sure he is. But injuries ruined last year for the Bengals in 2018, and it looks like it's already going to ruin this year for the Bengals. Injuries are just a problem for that. I've never seen a team deal with injuries more. Their number one overall pick, Jonah Williams, tore his labrum in OTAs. He's out for the year. As offensive tackle, they were so excited they drafted from Alabama. Done. Their first-round draft pick is out for the year. Then their top wide receiver, A.J. Green's already injured and having problems, missing practices. It's not great. And in the AFC North, in a really tough division with the Browns, the Steelers, the Ravens, you cannot afford to have any kind of problems. You can't have a setback. You just can't afford it. So the sad reality about the Bengals' new head coach, Zach Taylor, is that he was unable to help the Bengals' veteran quarterback, Andy Dalton, last year. Andy Dalton regressed last year. And if you want, you can be an Andy Dalton apologist. You can say, well, hey, he played on a bad team. It's not fair to Andy Dalton. You can do that if you want. But also the reality is that at one point, Andy Dalton got benched for rookie quarterback Ryan Finley. That's not good at all. Andy Dalton and Zach Taylor, it just didn't work. Zach Taylor was not able to help or fix Andy Dalton's problems. Also, sadly, A.J. Green was hurt and missed the entire season last year. Now, I think the reality behind the scenes is that A.J. Green wants out of Cincinnati, but Cincinnati's ownership is really stubborn, and they're not going to get rid of him. I was also really excited to watch Cincinnati Bengals receiver John Ross last year. Take a listen. Here's what I said about John Ross. John Ross. He's a wide receiver. He's entering his third year in the NFL, and he's from my home. He played college football in my home state of Washington. His rookie year, he was hurt a bunch, and then last year he was basically in a dark void. You never heard from him. He had like one highlight that was amazing in the preseason. That was it. You never saw from him again. But John Ross is an incredible athlete. He ran a 4.22 40-yard dash. He's an explosive athlete, and I believe that Zach Taylor's new offensive scheme is going to find ways to take advantage of his talents. He's an incredible explosive athlete that's a mismatch for a lot of people. I'm excited to watch how the Bengals use John Ross this year, and if they can get more out of him than he's ever been doing in the past, because he's too athletic and too gifted to not become some kind of threat in the NFL. So it's not going to be fun. Look, I expect the Bengals to go 3-13. It's going to be ugly. I'm sorry. But I think they're going to have a top 2 pick next year, and then maybe they can rebuild with that. But injuries, you can't have a bad start in this division in the AFC North. It's just not going to happen, and they already have. And it kind of, I hate to say your year is ruined, but you're going to get clobbered by the Steelers and the Ravens and the Browns. You know, it stinks, man. John Ross only played 8 games last year. He got hurt again. Now, he did have a career-high receptions, 28 catches. Ooh, but unfortunately, it's just not a very impressive number. And really what it shows is that if that's his career high, it shows how much he struggled to stay healthy and to make an impact over the course of his career. He did have, he had 3 total touchdowns last year, which is actually 4 less than he had in 2018. John Ross, the reality is he had very little impact on the Cincinnati Bengals in 2019. He also had a horrifying, really dangerous injury, which meant he broke a bone near his chest, an artery in his chest, and he almost lost. It was really, really dangerous and really, really bad. John Ross didn't pan out last year. A.J. Green was hurt. Andy Dalton regressed. The Cincinnati Bengals were awful last year, and I was right. I mean, they did get a top 2 pick. They're actually going to have the number 1 overall pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, and we will see if they can use that draft pick to rebuild their franchise and rebuild their roster. I love Cincinnati. It's one of my favorite cities in the world. A lot of people think I hate the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm actually planning to move to Cincinnati in September. Like, I really, really love Cincinnati as a city, and I would love for nothing more than to watch the Bengals get better and better and have a great year and have a great time as a franchise. But the sad reality is that they just really have struggled, and they struggled last year, and we'll see if they can turn things around in the next couple years as a franchise. So that is exactly what happened in my predictions versus reality for the 2019 Cincinnati Bengals. In case you don't know, Strong Opinion Sports is not just a YouTube channel. It is also a full audio podcast. You can find it on Spotify, on iTunes, on Google Play, pretty much everywhere you find podcasts. And if you like podcasts, please do me a huge favor and give it a listen.